So, Learning Plan 6. Learning Plan 6 covers renewable energy sources. Lessons all about primarily the renewable energy sources available for the residential market. They can certainly be applied to commercial and industrial applications, but again would probably be much larger in size. To be truthful about it, currently fuel cells, third item on the list there, are available at the commercial and industrial level, but are not really available for residential market, at least not in this area. There are some distributors who are getting down into the smaller sizes, but we're not quite there yet, or at least not readily available. So, Learning Plan 6 is a two-part learning plan. First of all, we're going to talk a little about, solar photovoltaics, solar panels and inverters, and, ways that the sun can produce energy for us. We're also going to talk about wind turbines and wind generation, and, some of the ways that that can be utilized, and some of its efficiencies and inefficiencies. And then, as I said, we're going to talk a little bit about fuel cells, basic fuel cell illustration on the right. We have hydrogen going in some form, and then the atoms being split to the negative electrons, and then being used as current, whether we're using them as current power or storing it in a battery or whatever we're doing with the current. And then again it returns to the source, combines with oxygen, and one of the only outputs of fuel cell is water. And oxygen for that matter, but because it doesn't use all of the air that it pulls in. But Ballard may be the leader right now in the industrial market, but again, I will let you research that a little bit as you go through the lessons to determine for yourself what you think is best. The big keys, again, follow through the numbers on Blackboard. It says, we're in chapter 20 to start with for part 1, which is theoretically day 3 of our class. Chapter 20 covers the renewable sources, talks a little bit about the ways that we use the power and things in the motor controls textbook. And then there's some homework questions, but the PAT it says research and record renewable energy production data. Again, just go out and get 3 renewable energy sites. Again, it says one set of recorded data will get you a C, 2 sets will get you a B, 3 sets will get you an A. If you go on Blackboard and look, I realistically give you 2 sites with data automatically, so you can get a B just by putting a little bit of work into it. To get an A, you might have to research a little bit more, but again, there's spots there in that number 5, research and record renewable energy production data, to help you with that. And then 6, the performance assessment task folder has the exam, or the little test, again on the basic renewable energy sources. Once you complete that, then actually Learning Plan 2 will open, because we'll be done with the generation portion of our class, and we'll move into transformation. But you should continue, once you complete that performance assessment task, the rest of LP6 will also open, because there again you're going to need to read chapter 28 and review it on distributed generation. But then as part of the final project for the class, item number 11 in LP6 is a renewable energy site plan. And there is 3 documents attached to number 11 there. One is the standard distributed generation application form from Wisconsin Public Service, which leads you through the basics of the application. You should fill out that application and submit it as part of your renewable energy site plan. Then there are 2 examples there of the site plan and the one-line schematic that are the ones that I actually submitted when I put my solar photovoltaic panels on my house. They were accepted by WPS, so they contain all of the information that you would need to give them. So you should fill out the application. Again, you don't have to submit it to anybody except except us here on Blackboard, except me. And then draw up the site plan and the one-line schematic and scan them in, or save them as a PDF, and then submit them as well. That has to be done before the last class, because that will be our discussion for the last day of class, is looking at everybody's site plans and seeing what kind of numbers they come up with. So again, make sure you look ahead to that site plan. It's going to take not too long, but it'll take a couple of days or a couple of hours at least to accomplish what you want, depending on how good you are with AutoCAD or some of the drawing programs. And it has to be turned in before class on the last day of school, or on the last day of class. Again, any questions, shoot me an email or give me a call and leave me a message.